Hey, everybody, this is Cody Bateman. Welcome to the Relationship Marketing Podcast. My name is Cody Bateman, and I'm very excited to have a very special guest on with us today. First of all, I'd like to reach out to all of those who listen in on a weekly basis to this podcast. Congratulations to all of you for making an effort to better your lives and to better your business, especially creating better relationships in your business through these relationship marketing principles. We're excited for the guests that we have on today. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce this guy. He's become a very good friend of mine over the last little while. It doesn't take long to become good friends with this guy. Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Service out of Tempe, Arizona. Tommy, how you doing?
Doing great. Excited to be on here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to have you on. In fact, we're going to share with our audience here in a second just who we're listening to. Yeah, first of all, you got a super cool chair you're sitting in. I mean, where'd you get that thing? It looks like you're in a sports car or something.
Birthday just happened, and my one chair was A1 red, which is like this color back here. So everybody pitched in, and this thing's got springs on the side here.
Wow.
It's got everything. So I came into work March 4th. And this bad boy was wrapped up, and there was confetti all in here, and it was amazing.
That's cool. That is super cool. For all of those watching it on YouTube, you can see what Tommy's looking sitting in there. It's super cool. So anyway, we want to welcome Tommy Mello on A1 Garage Service. Let me tell you a little bit about this guy. He's the owner and operator of A1 Garage Service, the host of the Home Service Expert podcast, and the owner, partner, or investor in 14 other businesses, ranging from Christmas lights to real estate to mobile apps. Guy kind of reminds me of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. You know, Gary V's this wine guy, and then he ends up being this entrepreneur guy that's everywhere now, telling people about how to be influencers and stuff like that. But that's kind of what Tommy's like. Tommy owns A1 Garage Service, but he's a serial entrepreneur, I guess I would call you. Incredible to sit and talk to you, Tommy, and brainstorm and talk about different business tactics and ideas. Just amazing stuff. Let me just share a little bit more. 2007, Tommy became the sole owner and operator of a single Phoenix-based garage door service business, which came with $50,000 in debt. Today, A1 Garage generates over $30 million in annual revenue with over 250 employees in 12 states. So big turnaround story. Incredible stuff that you've been able to do there. Tommy's a regular contributor to Inc., Entrepreneur, and other business publications on the topic of entrepreneurialism and small business, as well as a sought-after podcast, radio, and television guest. And you're about to find out why. This guy's got a ton of energy, and he's got a lot of creativity. And like I said, a serial entrepreneur. So, Tommy, first of all, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on with us. You're going to find out soon. Tommy's also a featured speaker at the Relationship Marketing Grand Summit that we're putting on August 9th in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today on this podcast, you're going to find out why he was chosen to be one of our speakers. Just incredible energy here. So let's talk first about the garage service business, home service. I want to talk about that a little bit first because you turned a home service business from $50,000 in debt to a $30 million annual revenue business, 250 employees over 12 states. It's a huge success story, huge turnaround success story. So obviously our listeners will probably want to know a little bit about how you did some of those things. But what I want our listeners to kind of put yourself in the chair of the buyer of home services. So think about, because all of us are buyers of home service. You know, at some time we need someone to fix our garage door, or we need someone to, you know, fix our roof, or to clean our windows, or to whatever it is, any type of home service, you know, to come fix our sink or whatever the case might be. These are all home service oriented businesses. So we've all had experiences with that, good and bad probably. So I want you to kind of think from the perspective of a buyer of home services. And we're going to talk, Tommy, to you today from that perspective. So first of all, A1 Garage. So we are, you know, I need my garage door repaired.
Right.
So how did you turn this whole business around and make it such a successful business? Obviously, a lot of that was by creating satisfied customers, big part of that. So what did you do? I mean, how did you make it so people wanted to call you instead of somebody else?
Well, I'm focused on sales and marketing. That's the beast of who I am. That's like what I love. That's my passion. I was forced into accounting, financing, operations, and I've gotten better at those, but I don't love them. But I'd say what I talk about a lot in the book is key performance indicators. And it's about with them. It's about what's in it for me. When I think about that, what's in it for me, I think about if I'm the individual that Tommy's dealing with, what's in it for me to do this? Why, employee wise, customer wise, relationship wise, whether it's a significant other, a family member, or one of my distribution centers or distributors. So I kind of focus on the thought of raving fans. There's a great book. It's an easy read. You can read it on a 2-hour airplane ride. But I told you before, I've got 750 books on Audible and several of your books and a ton of other books, and they're at my house. They're here, and I can't get enough reading. And I think it all starts from helping other people, and I get to learn everything. And in an hour and a half, I can learn everything that you've done and all the mistakes you've made in your life by paying $20. And for you, I got it for free because I had someone send it to me. So I think it's the most amazing thing in the world. And that's how I started, and that's what I think about.
So you're a student. You're a big-time student of sales and marketing and best practices for business, which obviously is very, very important in today's world. And you do. I mean, you've got books all over the place, just like I do. I've always felt that books have been my best friend. And speaking of books, Home Service Millionaire. Tommy's the author of Home Service Millionaire. Could you hold that up, Tommy? If you just hold it, the YouTube watchers. Home Service Millionaire. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. So I'm not sure how I ended up with a copy of this, Tommy. I actually I think you sent it to me. I think there was an introduction made. A friend of ours, both of ours, introduced us.
Yeah, George
Redheffer made the introduction several months ago. And here's let me tell you a little something about Tommy. We had scheduled a phone call. So George Redheffer, a mutual friend, set up a phone call for Tommy and I to talk. The morning that call was scheduled, I came into my office and the call was scheduled for like 10 in the morning. I walk into my office and I sit down to my desk, and on my desk is this package, and it's got Tommy's book and a card from you with an explanation of who you are and how excited you are for the call. And here's a copy of my book. Here's some feature things in the book we might want to talk about. Very impressive, brother. That was very impressive because here I never met you at that point. But let me tell you, by the time we got on the phone call, and you made sure, I don't know how you did it, but you made sure that on my desk that morning before that call was going to be your packet. But that's the kind of guy you are. I mean, that's the kind of detail that you seem to be able to go into. How do you do stuff like that?
Well, I have a buddy of mine that was a best man in 5 weddings. And I've actually learned and studied this guy. And I'm like, who's the best man in 5 weddings in 8 years? It's crazy. How do you become that great of a friend and that great of relationships? And what I've noticed is he's very strategic and plans. And when he walks around, he's thinking, he'll pick up a $2 trinket for your daughter. And he'll bring it over and he'll be like, Tommy, I'm so excited. I don't have kids, but he'll be like, I'm so excited to bring this over. What's Kyle up to? I'm just going to drop something by. And it's the thought of helping others is what I've learned to create success. And it also creates happiness within. So, you asked me what I do, and I think being able to give this away, telling people who I am, telling them there's 3 ways to learn, and I'll go quick through this, but you make mistakes. And I've made every mistake in the book, and that's why I wrote the book. The other way is to read books and listen to others. And the third way is to buy consultants. I've done all 3. I've done a lot of the first one. But watching people, admiring people, learning from people, and picking role models is kind of the way that I've done it. And when I learned to be able to send people stuff to make yourself stand out, you know, I've learned it from 2 books. One of them is the one I had you read, Blue Fishing.
Yeah, Blue Fishing's great.
And then the other book is called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And they both talk about sending things to make yourself stick out from the others.
Yeah, really good stuff. So, yeah, we've had some great conversations, great things. In fact, your book, The Home Service Millionaire, I got done reading that, and again, it's specifically about the home service industry. Anybody in home service should get a copy of this book. You can go to homeservicemillionaire.com/success and get it for free. And so I highly recommend that you do that. In fact, I like the book so much, even though it's a book on home service, you talk about a lot of principles in the book on how to run a business, and you're a numbers guy. You talk a lot. We call it metrics. I can't remember if you call it metrics or not, but you're a big advocate of knowing your numbers. I mean, that if I feature something about you, it's knowing your numbers. You talk about that all the way throughout your book. I like the book so much that I've made it required reading for my senior management team in my company. So, you know, I run a company called sendoutcards.com, the premier relationship marketing system in the world today, where we send greeting cards, real greeting cards and gifts over the internet for people to follow up with their people in their business. So we're a turnkey variable print on demand type of business. So a completely different business model than home service. But after reading your book, I was like, it's one of the best books I've read. Honestly, one of the best books I've read on management, on business management. That's how good that book is. It's simple, it's down to earth, very simple principles, doesn't get too sophisticated, but it teaches you the fundamentals. So homeservicemillionaire.com/success. Make sure you get a copy of it.
Can I say one thing real quick about it? Is I wrote the book and then I said this isn't good enough. I'm not in love with it. So I decided to go out there. I got the CEO of Service Titan. I wish I would have known you before I wrote it. I got the CEO of Valpak, those little blue mailers. Yep. I got the COO of Home Advisor. You know, Home Advisor. Yep. I got 7 other people that were better than me at a lot of things. I got a guy with 15,000 service agreements. So my thought was, I don't want to be the expert at all this stuff. I can't be. I'm not. So let's go out and get the 10 best people in the world at these things. CRM, the largest home service CRM in the world. It's a $2 billion company now. Obviously, Salesforce is just not for home service. This is just home service. And that really put the icing on the cake for the book. So it's not just me. It's I got to say they've done an incredible job at helping me with the book.
Well, yeah, and you interview some of those people in the book, like Service Titans is a CRM, and you interview some of those guys in the book, and you guys have dialogue where you talk back and forth. One of the things that you feature in the book is, and I love this, and I want you to talk about the power in this. You go and do what you call on-site visits. You go visit with other businesses, and you do on-site visits just to learn about their business. And there's several examples in the book. You actually did it with my company. You flew at your own expense from Tempe, Arizona to Salt Lake City, Utah to do an on-site visit with send-out cards to learn about our business. It's not enough for you to just get on a phone or a Zoom like this and talk to somebody. You want to go where they do their business and learn from this. Tell us, where did you learn that strategy and why is that so important?
I have a mentor a long time ago that taught me, his name's Dave, and he taught me a lot, and he said, if you ask, successful people will tell. You just got to have, if you ask for it, you just got to ask. Yeah. So when I go around, I've learned so much by touring a facility. And when people tour my facility, I say, look, give me the good. Do a SWOT analysis. Tell me the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. But I say, I want to know more about the bad. So I've done a lot of tours in my facility, and they're like, you know, Tommy, everybody kind of looks misplaced with different color shirts. So now we all wear the same shirts. And they, you know, I could tell you 10 different things that they've said that I've changed and gotten better at. But when I tour somebody else's facility, I'm getting a wealth of knowledge. And usually I'm touring somebody that I admire, that I want to be more like, that I could take even 2 gold nuggets out of that. The smallest little things could mean a world of difference for the whole place. I mean, I'm all about, right now at the size we are, I'm about culture. I remember being a tiny company and being like, culture, I could barely pay my bills. Of course, you know what I mean? And people are like, successful people are like, culture, culture, others, others, others. And I'm like, I'm working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to get by. And you're telling me about dress code and culture? And so I just learned a lot about asking questions and going to where people are more successful than me. And that doesn't just mean monetarily. That means they're truly are happier people. They've got inner peace. They've got happier employees. And when I see them and talk to them, it's absolutely incredible the knowledge I can get by just going to one site visit. And I try to do one per quarter.
So one site visit per quarter. So you go out and do that. So that's one thing we've learned. That the other thing is that when people come to your facility, you really like to get feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. You like to get feedback from people, which I think is real important. And you talk in the book about how you've made some, and you mentioned several of them just now, but many things you've learned how to make improvements to your business by that feedback that people gave you when they came and visited you. Talk to us a little bit about that. We live in a day and age where people think they have to show their best selves all the time. They have to be super cool on social media. I got to be large and in charge and be all super cool and look perfect all the time. So people get real sensitive to feedback. That's one thing I've noticed is people get really sensitive to feedback, especially when it's constructive and maybe critical or whatever, and pointing out flaws or things that you've done wrong. But you celebrate that. It's almost like you're totally the opposite. Tell me how bad I screwed up, man. Tell me how, so I can learn. Like you really,
embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah. Embrace it. That's a good word. You talk about embrace. So tell us a little bit about why that's so important. The difference between being scared of it and embracing it.
It's hard sometimes to hear negative criticism, and I understand that. But if it's something that I could do, like if somebody says you got a big nose, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get plastic surgery. I can't change that. But if somebody says, I'm just curious, why are there calendars all over the walls? Don't you guys have a Google Calendar? I had a consultant and tell me that. And I said, that's true. And I said, there's so many little details I take. And I say this, always be improving. I don't expect perfection, progress, not perfection. Move the ball forward. I want to know what this looks like because you're just like a customer walking in, except my customers probably aren't going to tell me. But I do blind surveys all the time. I want to know if employees feel like they're being treated right. I want them, more importantly, to tell me if I'm treating them right, if I'm a good leader. And I know there's a lot of flaws. The only thing I could do is continue to tell them one thing. I'm going to continue to try to improve myself, and I'm going to make this a better place for you. And if you treat me right and you've got a will, I'll find a way. All I need is your belief and your commitment to me, and I'm going to give you everything I got, and I'm going to make the best decision. If that means firing one of your colleagues for the best of the business, then that's the right thing to do. I'm not going to hold on to anybody not pulling their weight. There's no tenure here. You could come in the first month and earn a better position than somebody else based on the fact that you're doing a better job, you're listening more, and you're trying harder. And I don't believe in just it's your 6-month annual, semi-annual, that's BS in my opinion, and it's just not the way I run this business.
Well, I love it. There is this concept that seems to be out there of enablement. People think, I put in my time, therefore I should get the reward versus, I put in I created the results. People got to understand that if you wish you'd see people take on more of an entrepreneurial mind, those who are employees take on an entrepreneurial mind. It's like, if you generate results, that's where the rewards come from. So yeah, good. I mean, it seems like logical common sense, but the employee mindset,
I say this. So people go, so I've heard this line. I go, people say, I wish there were 10 more of me. And I go, I don't. If there was 10 more of me, I'd have 10 competitors. You got to take people, and I think now it's become a family, and they look at me as the big dad sometimes or big brother. And you got to have just enough. I think organization of your time is the most important thing. We've got time, energy, and money. Energy is how much energy can I put into this project? Time, I I don't need all my time because I've become an expert at delegation. So when you become an expert, I'll show you this, Cody, is I call this the Al Levy, by the way, helped me learn this stuff, but here's the steps of delegation. And so when I give people things, it says what needs to get done. Here's why it needs to get done so you understand. Here's what you have available and resources to get it done. Here's the priority assigned to it. Here's when it needs to get done by. Here's the meeting schedule to help us on a progress state. So we're going to meet a fourth way through it to make sure you're on pace to hit your deadline. Here's what the consequences or the rewards are. And did the task get done, and what opportunity do we have for feedback? And then they got to sign off. They got to put their signature. And what I found is when they sign off, they get it done. They go, dude, you're really going to make me sign this? All right. They come back and they're like, I did it. And I'm like, good. So I started, it fits in my back pocket and it's a great resource.
So where'd you get that resource list? Did you write it or did you pick it up somewhere?
Well, I took somebody's, like I said, Al taught me a lot of this stuff, and then I made it better and built it into a carbon copy that I write them down now. And when you write it down, it just becomes really powerful. You know, you've heard write down your goals, and they could become, I just read this thing. I'm doing this thing right now. It's called The Best Year Ever, Your Best Year Ever. And it's a journal, and it's just writing down your goals. And it's really understanding where you're going to go, and you should have stretch goals. And what I found is just writing this stuff down and keeping track of it and actually monitoring it changes the whole game. So it's where your time goes. It's the 80-20 rule. And there's so much here. And, you know, I've been better at focusing, but I just love it because there's so many things in my book. And when I could talk about one thing, it leads to another thing. So just kick me back in place if I go off.
Well, we love to listen to you talk. So we'll just let you go off when you need to. So yeah, the delegation checklist, I really like that. I need to get a copy of that for our staff, delegation checklist. And I don't remember that being in the book. Is it in the book?
No, I couldn't give all my stuff out of the book.
Okay, so you should have a website. You probably have a website where you give away free stuff. And,
I got tons of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
How am I giving this out? I send this to a lot of people. If you come into my office, I hand you the book of steps of delegation and the steps of corrective action. Corrective action just means instead of writing you up, I got corrective action steps. And if you get enough of them, you know, we're going to have to really sit down and talk and see if this is the right place for you. But, you know, I've learned a lot. Like I said, consultants, I didn't invent the wheel by any means. I take a wheel and maybe design it a little bit better in my eyes. But, you know, nothing I wrote, nothing I've done is completely authentic except who I am now as a person. But there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of great things out there. If you read, you listen, you learn, you talk to consultants. I mean, it's amazing what's out there, and you can just learn so much.
So I want to go back to metrics. You're the numbers guy, and you like to have numbers to look at. So let's go talk a little bit again about this turnaround, a $50,000 in debt business to a $30 million company, 250 employees in 12 states. A lot of turning that around had to do with knowing your metrics, knowing what you wanted to monitor. Tell us a little bit about that. What kind of things did you put into metrics, and how do you recommend other businesses do the same?
This is my favorite subject probably, and this is what I want to be known for, is helping people understand what makes their business tick. And what I have people do is write down, how much money do you want to make this year? And then I write the next number in revenue. How much do you want to do in revenue? The next number I want you to put down is, what's your average ticket? Okay, so let's say you're a roofer. Let's say it's $1,000, I don't know, or an air conditioning guy. So you got $1,000. Then I say, what's your conversion rate? When you show up to the house, how often do you convert that into a sale? And then you go back and then you look at your the opportunity to show up to the house, because a lot of times somebody will book a call and there'll be cancellations. The next one is your call center. So how many calls are you booking that come in? And then the next one is, what's your cost for a lead? And as you work backwards, you find out how much you need to spend in marketing, because I love marketing, to figure out how much you need to make But when I look at these numbers, I say, hold on, let's look at these numbers. You got a 45% conversion rate on the phone calls. What if I get that to 75, 3 out of 4, which I could do easily? Then I say, your conversion rate is 38%. Let's get that to 70. Then I say, and here's the thing, if you're getting over 70, raise your prices because you can do a lot less work and get the same amount of money. Then the next big thing I do is I say your average ticket's way too low because I don't sell apples, I sell oranges. So when people say apples to apples, I'm like, sorry, we don't carry Macintosh. I only carry these big Florida oranges, and we're not the same. But apples to apples, I'll compete on price. But I always say there's 3 things people want. They want it done fast, they want it done right, and they want it done for cheap. I say pick 2 out of the 3, and here's what you get. I don't pick. I'll never be the cheapest.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All you YouTubers saw exactly how he did those 3 steps. That was great. Oh, wow. Well, that's good. So know your numbers. Those of you in the home service business, I'm sure we'll have a lot of people that'll tune into this that are in the home service business. That's really good information for you to know those numbers, conversion rates, the return on investment. What do you have to do in marketing? Let's talk about marketing a little bit and cost of marketing. Tell us, I want to go in 2 areas here because I want to talk about traditional marketing practices you've done for this business. And then I want to talk about new marketing practices that you've learned through the relationship marketing things that we're teaching here, and you utilize some of our services. So traditional marketing and sales practices, what kind of things do you do?
So I'll tell you this, Cody. There's 70% of all services are found online. Pretty much 70%. 70% of those are found on Google. Therefore, 49% of your time and energy should be focused. Half of your time should go to what can I do on Google. And there's 4 algorithms on Google. There's pay-per-click. There's Google My Business, which is your local profile, which gives reviews. There's a Google Guarantee program, and there's regular organic. Most people dive into one of those and forget all of them. If it were me, if you can make money on spending money, which the other 3 are free, if you can make money on pay-per-click, you can make a ton of money on the other 3. So learn to make money on PPC and pay-per-click. But, I've done everything from you name it. I've got a sticker program. I pay realtors to go into vacant houses and leave stickers on the door. So that's unorthodox, but it works. I've done B&I groups, which you're very familiar with. Let's say I'm not too big, but I'd say the bang for the buck isn't worth it at my size right now. Is the juice worth the squeeze is what I always say. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. When you're smaller, it is. The next big thing is I really do a lot of mailers. I do money mailer, Valpak. I spoke at the last Valpak event. There was every franchisee, franchisor, and they wanted me to talk half the time about what it's like to be a client and then what it's like to be a business owner. And the funny thing that I said is, you know how a guy sold me mailers recently is he sent me a send-out card. And it went right through all my gatekeepers. It ended up right here on my desk, and it looked like a birthday card. So, of course, I opened up the card and looked for some money, but there's nothing in there. But it was a great card, and it was a sincere card, and it genuinely came for the heart. And I know we were going to talk more about traditional, but I told these guys at the Valpak, I said, what are you doing differently? What are you doing in their best interest? How are you saying, can I help you with them? What's in it for me? Why would they want to take your appointment? Everybody and their brother is selling something. There's a law of reciprocation in the book by Robert Cialdini, Influence. And it says, if you do something for me, I'm more than likely to do something back for you. So when you could go out of your way, he got me on a podcast. I'm on this podcast. He introduced me to George. He brought everybody, donuts. He made fans of every gatekeeper, even my assistant. He brought her flowers. And he's just such a nice guy. I said, man, whatever you're doing, I want in. I want to be part of whatever you're doing because you've gone above and beyond. And I know you're genuinely looking out for me and my business. And I just want to know you at that point. And I said to the Valpak people, I said, sometimes there's a spot in people's businesses where they shouldn't be doing mailers or they shouldn't be doing Google. I had advertisers come to me and say, Tommy, pause. I've listened to a lot of the phone calls. Some of them are taking 40 seconds or longer. And I don't think this person's right on the phone. Maybe you should do some more training. You think I went back to that guy and used him again? I said, dude, you rock. You just saved me a lot of money. I'm going to use you again. And I said, you treat people fairly. it'll go a long way. And it goes a long way with me. And I'm going to spend a lot of money with you because you're looking out for me.
Well, I love that. We've talked about that a lot on the show with some other guests that have been on here, is the importance of being in the service mindset all the time, not in the sales mindset. And a lot of salespeople have a hard time with that because they're like, oh, we got to sell, sell, sell. And it's wimpy to not be focused on sales. Well, that's not the world we live in today. It's a service industry today. It's a service world today. If you want to set yourself apart from others, you've got to be in the mindset of serving people. And I love your example, hey, Tommy, pause. Pause. Don't buy another mailer from me right now. Go fix your customer support thing. And that does send a clear message. This guy really does care about you. And that's the kind of salesperson that you got to be today in order to separate yourself. Those are the kind of things you're going to be learning at the Relationship Marketing Grand Summit and podcasts like this, all kinds of those things. Well, let's shift a little bit. So you do a lot of, I told you this guy knows his numbers, 49% of this and blah, blah, blah. You hear he just flips out these numbers. He knows them well, knows where to spend his time. Now, some new practices have kind of shifted your mindset a little bit on some of those numbers. I mean, you do have the numbers on traditional marketing. We have a concept called relationship marketing where our focus is more building the relationships and generating what we call referral business. Talk to us a little bit about what you've learned from using our services at Send Out Cards. I mean, how does that shift your mindset a little bit on what you do?
So a lot of people think of Send Out Cards as a relationship. I think of it as more of there's so many things more than just relationships. It makes it through the gatekeeper if you're going after new business. And if that's your goal in business. So we what I've been working on is getting more information from customers, family, friends about knowing anniversary dates, your wedding dates, your birthdays, your kids' birthdays. So there's something to be said about remembering that stuff and having it on a calendar and saying something nice. What I love about Send Out Cards is I could customize it. So I started to do more selfies and doing a lot more digging around on the internet. So right now I'm selling my book. I'm sending Send Out Cards to big garage door companies and saying, check out my free book, get a copy here. But I got a picture of their truck. And I'm like, killer truck, dude. That's a great wrap. No wonder how you became so big in that area. And the more you go out of your way and they're like, whoa, this guy took some time to get this done. I met the president of my biggest garage door manufacturer 2 weeks ago. And 2 days ago, I sent him a jumbo card, and he's in there and his company, and I've got the Inc. 5000 because we won the Inc. 5000. We were like number 1,300. And I said, I'm going to win again this year. We submitted for it. And I said, it's thanks to you and what you guys have done for us that we're able to win this. And I can't tell you enough how much I'm fortunate enough to got to meet you, know you now. And these things are a game changer because here's the thing. I don't open email anymore. Rarely. My assistant does. Text message gets through, but there's a zillion laws. You get $1,500 per text if you don't know that person. And trust me, I know everything about skip tracing, getting cell phone numbers for the real estate stuff. So Send Out Cards for me, I mean, I went and I saw these things. It's like a jet going like that. I was at your place and I'm like, but they look so good. And they got a stamp on them, or at least it looks like a stamp, and they get opened. And that's the hardest thing about anything is I don't get very much mail that I open. But every single Send Out Card I've gotten to this day I've opened. And I send the jumbo ones. So for my mom, I don't know if you saw the video, but I filmed it. And my mom gets this awesome thing for Valentine's Day. And I did a collage of her mother, her daughter, my sister, her niece. And there's a collage of everybody. And she opened it in tears. And she's like, this is crazy. I've never gotten anything. It cost me, through your program, $1.50. Okay. That's the postage. I mean, and she was just she's going to keep that forever. And it's really cool because when I saw this, you guys got this way to make money if you get people and all that. But for me, I'm like, this is going to make my relationship stronger. It's going to make my relationships with my vendors stronger, my employees stronger. It's going to make my customers happier. And I'm looking at this like the sky's the limit. And that's just for what I think I could do without any commission or anything like that. I'm going to use this and I'm getting better and better at it. I'm learning everything. I've taken the system apart and put it back together 20 times. And I'm trying to figure out faster, more effective ways but also make it personal. So it's from the heart and say, Tommy took the time to do this. Man, just the fact that I'm Toma, top of mind awareness is amazing. And that's what that does.
Yeah, we hear a lot about being top of mind. You know, you get to people, you get to the top of people's minds through their hearts. And that's kind of what you've been talking about. And we're a real big advocate of what we call the heartfelt card send. Our goal is to help millions of people to act on their promptings to reach out in kindness to other people. And people in business think, oh, well, that's cute. That's cute. But what does that really mean to my business? That means everything to your business. Because what we have found over the years, after sending 170 million of these greeting cards on behalf of businesses all over the world, we've learned that the heartfelt card send is by far the most impactful. The ones you just mentioned, you know, celebrating somebody's birthday, you know, having the cut, personalizing it with pictures and a nice little message in there. We call those heartfelt card sends that send out cards. And we believe that that is the way to truly take your relationship marketing efforts to the highest level. A lot of people today in relationship marketing, they're talking about metrics. They're talking about return on investment. They're talking about systems, automations, which is cool. Those things are cool. A really good CRM like Service Titans that you guys use, that's cool stuff. The ability to automate, get some emails out, maybe even get some greeting cards out. You might even be able to, you can use our system as an example and send out real physical greeting cards in drip campaigns. You can schedule them out where they automatically go out and talk about different things and whatever, and that's automation. And those are cool and they work, but nothing works even close, not even close. Nothing even comes close to the heartfelt card send and how that brings you top of mind and helps you to create that genuine relationship with other people. That's what we talk about in the power of human connection. That's what you're, been doing, and it's been really fun to watch you.
Well, here's the deal, Cody. If I get an email from somebody, and trust me, I'm involved with Frank Kern, Perry Belcher, Ryan Dice, you name it, I've opted into their stuff because I'm a marketer and I want to see it. But it's generic, and you can tell it's generic, and it's got my name in there, but that's it because they switch it out. And I'm like, when you handwrite a card or send a really good email to somebody, it means a lot. And when you open that card and you're like, they're sending this to everybody, this is it. So, I'm not going to open anything else from that guy. And that's right. What happens. But when you get something real, it means a lot. And it means a lot. Like I walked through your office and everybody had a ton of cards. And, but it wasn't just because they have to, because they worked there. It was because they were really, really nice, genuine cards.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, listen, Tommy, we could go on all day long. There's so many things that you and I have talked about over the last several months. I feel like I've known you for years. I almost said several years, but I've only known you for months. But we really get into some deep conversations. So here's what I want to do. I typically like to close out our shows this way, but I really want to do this with you. It's time to give you the floor. I want to give you the floor. No more questions. No more anything. I want you to give us a good 5 to 6 minute close of good old Tommy Mello. Just, you are an incredible student. You're a student of your craft. Your focus and emphasis is on sales and marketing. You turned this business around, an incredible success story. Give us a close here, 5, 6 minutes. What should people be doing to 10 times their business? Go ahead.
So Grant Cardone wrote the book 10 Times Your Business, and think about 10 times. What can you do differently to 10 times your business? And I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone. I'm a big fan of a lot of people. But realistically, 10 times your business is not realistic. What I would advise is let the numbers dictate your decisions mostly. I can tell you that our Google, one of our sites the algorithm came out recently and it moved down. And everybody was really bummed out. And I stood in front of 100 staff members and I said, you know what? I said, Google could go away. Money Mailer, Valpak, everything could go away. But you know what's never going to go away? You know what makes me stronger than any other company? I said, these relationships that I've built. I said, my cell phone goes out 15 times a day. 15 times a day. And by the way, I deleted Facebook and I took the TV out of my bedroom. Smartest thing I ever did. I still get on here because I do Facebook Live and stuff. But I said, these relationships, they're not calling anybody else. They don't price shop. They love me and I treat them right. So building relationships is something that I think is a lost art. And I said today in my sales meeting, I said, how do you get people to like you? Number one, you smile. When you walk up, you smile. The next thing you do, how to win friends and influence people, is you ask them questions. You're sincerely interested and you're actively listening in what's going on in their life. And the third thing you got to do is you got to have confidence. Because if you're fixing something for somebody, they're probably not going to get what you're saying if you're looking down, not making eye contact, and doing other things. And what I read about in the book, one of the first things is Simon Sinek of Finding Your Why. And I want to just tell you a little story that means a lot, because this is not my story. It's an ancient story. But I said this at my sales meeting last week, finding your why, what does that really mean? What's a real good why? And there's a village at the top of the mountain, and there's a village at the bottom of the mountain. And this is 1,000 years ago. It's an old ancient tribe. And one day the top of the mountain comes and invades the bottom of the mountain, and they take one of the babies. And the babies, they take it back to their village, and the bottom of the mountain village says, we got to get that baby back. So they get the strongest, they're the best hunters, they're the best, they know how to follow tracks, they're trackers, they got the best of the best. They got 5 guys, and they start climbing, they're chasing the scent, everything. They got the dogs, and they get 3 days through it, and they're only a fourth of the way up. And they go, we've lost our way. We can't get to the top of this mountain. We might as well turn around. And all of a sudden, out of the distance, they see this woman running down the mountain. And they said, that's Sarah from the village. And all of a sudden, they see a satchel on her back, and it's the baby. And they get the baby, comes out and pokes his head out, and Sarah's there, and they go, how is this possible? How did you get there? We've been for 3 days. How are you coming down already? She goes, well, it wasn't your baby. Oh, I love that story. I get all emotional.
Yeah.
But the point is, if you truly find your real why, and that's her why, that's my baby. She wanted her baby. So gives me goosebumps every time I tell it, because I get all into it, But if I had to tell anybody, it's truly the Simon Sinek thing, really finding the why, what makes you tick, why are you doing this? If you figure that out, I think it changes everything.
Yeah, you might be interested. I'm actually just made an offer to a lot of our people in the send out cards world. I'm doing a workshop. I call it the I Am Blueprint Workshop. So we go into I Am statements and your why statements. And this is what I do in my seminars. We really dig down deep on that. It's one of the most popular segments of our seminars that we do. But I'm going to do a 6-week course where people can work with me on their I am statements and their compelling whys. And we drill down on them, and we come up with a core purpose statement and your compelling why. You end up with 2 different statements, and we talk about the significance of having both of those statements and why they're different. And it's very profound, like it's life-changing kind of stuff. And it's been a big request for a long time now from people in the send out cards world that I would do a more in-depth course on this. So we're going to go ahead and offer that. So you ought to come on and participate in that.
I'd love to. Yeah, I will.
On a webinar, on a Zoom type of deal. So we'll probably have over 1,000 participants in the first workshop that we start doing. So we're excited about that. But hey, listen, Tommy Mello, everybody, A1 Garage Service. If you need service done in the Tempe, Arizona area, make sure that you look up A1 Garage Service. Also, home service, millionaire.com/success. Make sure you get a copy of the Home Service Millionaire book. You will learn incredible things in there no matter what business you're in. Great business book on management and knowing your metrics and those kinds of things. So, Tommy, appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you and having you as a featured speaker at the Relationship Marketing Grand Summit, August 9th, Salt Lake City, Utah. So appreciate you accepting that invitation, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. So there you have it, everybody. Tommy Mello. Take care. Thanks, buddy.
You. Appreciate it.
See y'all.
If you have enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.